What is up, everybody? How's it going? So today just going to do a quick video of the tools that are used to do 1996 to 2002 4Runners CV axles, lower ball joints. So please stick around, check out the video, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you for watching. What is up, everybody? How's it going? And welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, and smush the bell notification icon for future updates. So, these are all the tools that I used. Give you guys a view back here. Move the camera a little bit. Or the light. These are all the tools that I used to do CV axles and lower ball joints on a 2000 limited 4x4 4Runner I call Rose. Today is January 5th, 2022. It is a Wednesday. Tomorrow will be the 6th. I'm getting tires and alignment for it. Because I'll go out there and show you, even though it's dark, and show you guys why it's getting tires. But so these are the tools that I used. Now, if you have original Toyota CV axles, or you may even have aftermarket CV axles like from Napa or something like that, as long as you have the Toyota nut for the CV axles, which is a 35 millimeter, it's this guy right here, 35 millimeter, you can tell right off the bat if it doesn't have a removable castle cap behind the cotter pin. Then the cotter pin's going to be just hanging out in the breeze. It's not going to be actually protecting the nut from backing off. You will end up having more than likely an aftermarket nut, which looks like this. So this is an aftermarket nut. It's all, it's a castle nut all in one. This is a 41 millimeter. That's why I have this 41 here. As you can tell, it's a 41 millimeter. Show you guys, it is a 41 millimeter socket. It is a 41 millimeter nut. So be prepared if you're doing this at home. If you have this style castle nut, that it's actually all in one, it's a nut and a castle nut in one, you're gonna want a 41 millimeter, and this is a 3/4 socket. It's like 32 bucks for this socket. There you go. If you have the originals, which I have my socket drawer open, if it is the originals, it's going to look like this. So, and you can tell there's a significant difference. Let me put you guys down for a second. So this is a Toyota nut. It's a flange nut. This one takes a 35. So this is the original. If you have this style, you're going to want a 35 millimeter. And then this is what I was talking about, castle cap. These are Toyota parts, as you can see. 43525-35010 is the castle caps, and these are only like $1 a piece, something like that. And then this is the Toyota nut flange. 90178-28002 is for the Toyota nut. This guy right here, and this is the castle cap. Now these are Toyota factory. So castle cap sits on top just like that. Now this gains you the 7 threads that this is too short. So if you have these aftermarket CV axle nuts, they are really short. So they are actually 7 threads too short to put the cotter pin in and it be housed by these tanks. If you use this, you're going to want washers. You're going to need a little bit over 1 inch diameter inner hole for washer, and you're going to want a washer that's at least 2 inches around to push this nut out so you can actually put a cotter pin through these gaps. Like the one I just took off, the cotter pin was literally 7 threads sitting out here like my thumb is sitting. So it was, the cotter pin was actually like right here, 7 threads away from even being close to this. It doesn't look like a lot, but it does make it significantly taller, even though this one is not as tall. It's actually shorter. But this cap only sits on a very small amount of this nut. So just wanted to show you guys that, just so you guys know. So I used the new DeWalt DCF 921 compact wrench. On setting 1 is mostly the setting I use it on all day. I actually didn't have the lights on, which is nice. You can actually have these lights completely off and use the tool. It's always nice. But I had it on 1 most of the day, and 2, I used it on 2 just to quickly tighten this down with a 36. And it actually tightened it down too much. Ended up having to back it off, retighten it. This nut needs to be torqued to 174 foot-pounds. Easiest way to do it: put your rim back on, take your, if you have the original Toyota rims, take the little center caps out, torque it down, pop your dust cover back in while it's on the ground. That way your parking pawl and everything and your brakes are stopping this the vehicle from moving when you do that. So 41 millimeter for this nut. If you don't have this nut, you can use a 35. If you have this one, it takes the 35. So here's 41, 35, 17 is what I used for one side of one of the lower ball joints, the bolts that hold the lower ball joints in. I used a 17 on the driver's side, 17 shallow and a deep, 19 was used, I believe, yep, this guy. This is a 513244 OTC puller. 19 was used for this, to pop the joint, the suction and the friction fit for the tie rod, upper tie rod. And then that little puller came out of this puller right here, came out of this kit. Is 6296 Pitman arm and tie rod end puller. It is a part of the 6295 OTC kit. Here you go. Comes with all these other ones. So let me move this stuff out the way, and I'll just put the kit to the side. You know, put this kit over here so you guys can see it in the video. There you go. This also takes off the outer tie rod from the steering knuckle slash lower ball joint. 27 millimeter is for the lower ball joint, and that was an older style ball joint, so I had to go grab a 24, because the new lower ball joints came with a 24 millimeter castle nut, so that's what the 24 is for. 16, for some reason on the passenger side, the lower ball joint bolts were a 16, not a 17 for some reason, so I had to grab a 16. That's what the 16's for. 21 is for OEM original 1996 to 2002 4Runners lug nuts, is a 21. You can use a 13/16. This one's kind of hard to see. It is a 13/16. You can use that for the lug nuts as well. It's just going to be a little bit tight, so you're going to have to knock it off of each lug nut. 13. this 13 is going to be different for you guys because I put in bolts, non-corroding bolts, which are the golden bolts that are 10.9, but the 13 is what I used with a 1-inch extension, or a 1.5-inch extension. I used to get the skid plate guards off. That's what this is for, the skid plate bolts. That's what that's for. And then I actually didn't use this guy, but I kept it out just in case, which is a 3.5-inch. So I actually used two different 1.5-inch. I used a old East Wing, probably I think this might be a 16-ounce hammer, for knocking the CV boots out, or the CV axles out of their snap ring. I used these DeWalt Delta Whiskey Henry Tony 74274. This is the angled, I believe these are 8-inch dikes, or side cutters, whatever you want to call them, snips, flush cuts. These are 8.5 inches. You get these at Home Depot for 21 bucks. These are great. The angle helps prying cotter pins out. That's what I used them for. I also used them to trim the cotter pins that I had shorter. Used a 1/2 inch, 84 tooth, gear wrench, 1/2 inch, flex head, ratchet. I also used a snap-on. This is a snap-on torque wrench. It's actually all faded off. This used to say snap-on on it. I actually have the case in the drawer. So it's right there. Snap-on. So this goes in here. This is a 1/2 inch drive torque wrench. Goes all the way up to 200 foot-pounds and as low as 30. This is a coarse tooth, it's probably a 32 tooth. It's an old school torque wrench. I used this 10mm gear wrench, ratcheting wrench, but I used the open end for putting the lower ball joint grease zerks on. This guy you're not gonna need, but you know this is that little gear wrench, bit, driver, and 1/4 inch socket, flex head, wrench kit that I have like 2 kits that I got from Home Depot. That's this kit right here that they have on sale right now. I think they still have them. They're like 54 bucks for that. I just used the ratchet. The little smaller ratchet's actually in another vehicle, but so is that socket that's missing. But I used this for because I found that the bolts came loose on the driver's side of my sway bar. So this is a 12mm deep that I had out of a kit, and I just popped it on this guy. Got those done. This is a old school. You can't find these specific Craftsman professionals anymore. 43269 USA. It's marked with USA on it. Everywhere. Wear goggles. But this is a Craftsman professional breaker bar, or not breaker bar, but pry bar. This is one of the shorter ones. I actually have the entire set. So I have the big boy right here. I have the really shorty one there. That was the medium length one. This one. And these all have strikers. These are strikeable. They have strikers on them. Been using these forever. This was to pop the CV axles out of the diff. This little demolition screwdriver that has has striking caps on the end from Doyle. These are really great. 2-pack, you get them in a Phillips as well. I use this to pop the dust covers off to get to the axle nuts. And then this is just a cheapy Pittsburgh 1.5 pound dead blow, got from Harbor Freight. I use this to pop the dust covers back on. And then this, just a Milwaukee Inksol green marker I use to mark the boxes that I put the older ball joints back in, so I know what they're for. 3/4 Milwaukee. This is the 1 key version. See the 1 key? This is model number 2864-20. 2864-20. Still has a battery on it. Still has 4 bars. And I use this on. Whoa! Drop the camera. You guys, all right? Woo! Caught you there. So this is on setting 2 at the moment. I actually didn't use it on setting 2. I actually used it on setting 1, and it did an amazing job. No issues. This guy, I've been loving this new Atomic Compact Series DCF 921. I've been using this exclusively for several weeks now. Everything I've needed it to do, it's done. This is actually what tightened the axle nut, CV axle nut, a little too tight. And then I also do have a swivel here. This is a 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch Carlisle swivel. It has been very well used, just to get the with a short 17, like that, just to get that little extra room to get the lower ball joint bolts out. And then that's it. It's everything I used. More than likely, if everything was put on at the exact same time, like both lower ball joints, you are not going to need a 27 or a 17 and a 16. You're not going to need. You're just going to need a 17, because lower ball joints, if you get premium lower ball joints that are greasable, they always come with the bolts that take the 17. You're always going to need a 19, as long as your tie rods take a 19. Some of them take a 16, and some of them take a 21. So it just depends on the tie rods. Toyota nut is always going to, the Toyota CV axle nut's always going to be a 35. 21 is always going to be your lug nuts, unless you have newer rims or fancier rims with like Gorilla lug nuts. 13/16 also works as well on original lug nuts. 13 is what I changed the bolt heads to for the skid plates, lower skid plates, that I recently showed you guys, or a while back, but it's going to be recent for you guys. Painted. So I hope the information's helpful. This is just the Milwaukee 2485-20 2-inch right angle die grinder. I used it on the lower control arm, which I actually have a control arm in the house. I can show you guys what I mean. Grab another flashlight. So I have a control arm right here. So all I used it for is that flange right there. So this flange right here. I just cleaned up that flange right here with that, just to make sure that the newer ball joints and everything were sitting flush, because this truck does have rust. It's got some rust all over the spindles, a little bit on the lower control arm. That's what I used it for. That is everything you guys need to do the job. Just keep in mind, if you have the aftermarket CV axle nuts, you're going to need a 41. If you have the Toyota ones, you're good. Just use a 35 millimeter. And that is essentially it, guys. Put these back in the video. That is all you guys need. I do appreciate you guys stopping by, checking out the video as always. I'll take you guys outside real quick. I need the flashlight, just show you guys the job is done. I didn't record any of it because I have, actually before I go out there, I didn't record it. I have 2 more CV axles right here and a starter for another vehicle, as well as lower ball joints, upper ball joints in that box for another vehicle. So I can always record on that one. I didn't record on this one. So that one right there that I'm pointing at, didn't record the job on that I just did on this one right here, because this is the daily driver. But here's the old CV axles right here, and that one right there. Lower ball joint, old one is right there in that box. Old one, this box. So this is the driver's side. Driver's side's actually in pretty great condition. I did bust off, prying it out, did bust off that little shield. That is just a dust shield. It goes into the diff side. This shield is actually intact, but this is the driver's side ball joint in this box. This is the passenger side in this box. The passenger side is, though, roasted. So passenger side is not in great condition. As you can see, the boot ripped open, but it actually has no grit or anything in it. Surprising. This shield is intact, and this dust boot or seal and everything on the back is still intact as well. Those are the 2 boxes right there for those CV axles. I'm going to put those in. The truck did leak a little bit. Toy. So as you can see, it leaked a little bit. It was full. It's full of diff fluid, not a lot. Not a big deal. But here you go. Gonna tilt the camera up. So there is the new ball joint on this side, passenger side, new CV axle. I need to get brand new spindles or used spindles. These spindles are junk. They are pretty rusted out. They're worse on this side, the passenger side, because I bet you this is where the truck was sitting in the snow. But it's got rust flaking off. Driver's side is actually in much better condition. I'm going to end up replacing it anyways. You can actually see this piece of the shield is actually missing. You can actually see the rotor. But there's the lower ball joint on that side, torque to spec, which spec for the lower ball joint bolts on a 2000 is 59 foot-pounds. Tie rod is 68 foot-pounds. Their outer tie rod, which is goes to this lower ball joint on the other side, and then your axle hub nut, or axle CV axle nut is 174 foot-pounds, and then this lower nut for the lower ball joint, there you go, that nut right there. Right there, that nut is 79 foot-pounds torqued. But just showing you guys, I did not put the skids back under yet. I'm probably just going to leave the skids off for the alignment techs to make it easier on their life, and I'll put them on when I get back to the house. The skids are in the back of the truck, to be honest with you guys, and the fluid the little amount that dripped into this pan, because it all dripped on the floor, because I had the jack stands I had up is why the fluid ended up all over the ground, is because the pan couldn't fit where the jack stands were. But this fluid is immaculate, and keep in mind all of these little dots and everything in here are pan staining, other than these dots right here, and those were from me prying the CV axles out. It dropped, you know, a little bit of rust and stuff. So this pan was completely clean when I started the job. The oil that came out though is, it's a little cold out here. It's about 39 degrees out here, so the fluid is in immaculate condition. It had brand new fluid in it. So that job is done, and the reason I didn't show it on this one is this one right here. I'll just give you guys a quick look real quick, just so you guys know what's going on. So I'm working on Sky, the one that I got into a wreck. I'm working on pulling this dent out. I need to get a replacement hood, and I need to fix the warp on this fender. But I need to go get a non-broken spindle for my buddy for this truck. I have the lower control arm I showed you, a few minutes ago in the video for this. So it's just got the shock and the tie rod hanging. So this truck right here is beast. It's lifted on, if I remember correctly, these are 40s, if I remember correctly. So this needs CV axles, and it needs a starter. It also needs a transmission rebuild. So this truck actually runs. It's a pet project. I also need to put an aftermarket bumper on here. It does have a roof rack, lots of goodies. I'm gonna end up putting a fancier, heavier duty bumper on the rear. It's got lights. It's got off-road light bar at the top. It's a little bit wider than the truck. It does work. There is a battery in this truck, as you can see. Maybe, yep. Door light is on. So this is how bright this bar is. Boom! Bar is bright. So I actually have a tender, or not a tender, but I actually have an Optima 4 amp charger out here. Just have a extension cord running up to the fence, or up to the house. Hood is slightly open. I ran the positive and negative up through the top of the inside of the grill, so that's how you don't see it. But this needs CV axles and a starter, and I need to rebuild the transmission. So in all technicality, I figured this truck's not moving. That one right there that I did the work on, this one right here in front of me, I did the work on. I didn't record it for that purpose, because I have 2 CV axles and a starter that goes in this one. So this one I could just do a video on it, take all the time. If you guys want lots of information, I can get you all the kinds of information. This, I also have upper ball joints and lower ball joints for this, and it does have a little spacer riser on the front struts. You can see that the fender well, it's got a very large lift. It's got a 6-inch body, if I remember correctly, maybe 4-inch body, and 6-inch suspension, plus the lift of the tires. So I think it, total, it's got, I could be wrong. If I remember correctly, I think that is wrong. I think it's a 6-inch body, 6-inch suspension, plus the 40-inch tires. That's what it was. It was total 12. This has got a big lift. So this starter is going to be really easy to get out. Really easy. The starter is right there. Right there. So just move this little cover and pull the starter out. So got some stuff to do on that one. Oops, turn the light off. Sorry, guys. Figured I'd give you guys some updates. There's a reason why I didn't do it on this one. This one needs, and just show you, this has an appointment tomorrow. It needs tires. It also needs an alignment. These tires were brand new 4 months ago. They looked like that. Now they don't look like that. So it had some kind of massive alignment issue. Didn't know the company I bought the truck from did not tell me it needed a suspension or alignment or anything like that. This one is just as bald. It's actually worse because this one has metal wires sticking out from the radial belt, as you can see there. So this one will probably only get me to the tire shop, the alignment shop that I always go to. I always go to the tire shop. Discount is where I always get my tires in Casa Grande. Jonathan's my man. Jonathan always gets me whatever I need. He lets me pay as soon as they show up. He'll even let me pay over the phone. Ooh, it is cold out there. So just wanted to show you guys the tools, show you guys that the job was done. These boxes right here. We're going to install these CV axles in this starter, upper and lower ball joints on Beast. We will install those in a few months. So there's no reason why I didn't have to record. But me not recording, doing rows, wasn't a big deal. It's a 15-minute job if you get everything off. It doesn't take very long. For somebody like me, it's a 15-minute job. If you've never done it, could be 1, 2, 3 hours. Each side is just dependent on you guys. But if you guys need any of the parts or any of the information, I'm gonna put, I put all of this information and all the parts I use to do this job, with issues, without issues, coming across that I had 2 different lower ball joints with 2 different freaking nuts or bolts holding them in. So just giving you all this information so you guys can do it on your own. Just a floor jack, a couple jack stands. Once you get everything done, you get these nuts on. Last thing, you just pop the tires back on, quickly tighten the tires, the lug nuts, and then get with the Toyota cap, or with your cap off. Your aftermarket rims should come with a cap also. With the cap that covers this off. 35mm socket, little 1-inch extension, and a torque wrench to 174 foot-pounds. You get that lug nut tightened down, that CV axle nut tightened down, just by dropping it back on the ground. The weight of the vehicle sitting on its tires, as well as the brakes and the parking pawl and the transmission, will allow you to torque it down. Pop your little dust caps back on. That truck has Toyota caps, so you just pop the Toyota rim caps back on and you're good to go. Hope the information helps everybody. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, checking out the video. Appreciate you guys stopping by as always. Please like, comment, subscribe, smush the bell notification icon for future updates. Go check out my Amazon affiliate links, my Acme Tools affiliate links, my DJI Electronics affiliate links, as well as my Ohio Power Tools affiliate links. And I will see you guys on the next video. Peace!